welcome back to my channel. If you are new, then don't forget to subscribe. If you're not new, then hello, welcome again. Today's video is going to be another sit down how to kind of video, because I know a lot of people find them very useful. And this one is not really nursing specific, but it can be all about how to write your assignments, how to plan them, how to make sure you write them in the most effective way in order to get the best grades possible. If you don't do nursing, this video will still be relevant to you whether you're in uni or sixth form or whatever. If you do nursing, it is still relevant, obviously, because I'm a nursing student and I have to write assignments. But just to quickly talk about nursing and assignments, a lot of people have recently been asking me if we do write assignments for nursing. Obviously, yes, we do. As it is a degree, obviously 50% of what we do is theoretical, it is academic. I guess it depends on the uni you go to, but because I obviously go to King's College London, it is a very research-based university. It's very academic. It's a Ross Group university, and so assignment writing and being able to research and reference and all of that stuff is very important. It's important in all unis, but some unis are obviously more focused on it than others. So yeah, I've just kind of broken this down into a few steps that I thought would be useful. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. The first thing that I think is the best thing to do when you're about to write an assignment is to plan. It's all well and good just kind of jotting a few things down to kind of figure out the order that you're going to write in, but I think it's really good to write a detailed plan. What are you going to say in your introduction? How many words is it going to be? What are you going to say in your main body? How are you going to split it up? Where are you going to put your points? Making sure you address the question or the statement that you're writing your assignment about. Adding kind of different things. Maybe you already have references you want to include. You can put that in your plan. How are you going to conclude it? How are you going to sum up everything you've said and link it all together to make it make sense? Things like that, and kind of just writing down your points so you don't forget them, I think is really important, and I think that's one thing you have to do and you have to complete before you even start writing, before you even write the title or put in your cover sheet. Just make sure you've got a plan, and once you do make that plan, if you are able to, send that to your module lead or whoever is running the module that you're writing, or whoever is kind of working or teaching in that module that you're writing the assignment for. Send it to them and ask them to look at your plan. Obviously, if your plan is extremely long, they're probably not going to read the whole thing, but if it's kind of around 250 words, that's probably the best amount to write for a plan, because it's very concise and it's easy for the lecturer or the teacher or whoever to see what you're going to be writing about and to kind of to get a gist of how well your assignment is going to go. So yeah, make a plan, send it to them, wait for some feedback. If there's anything you need to change, then obviously change it. Ask questions if you need to, if you're not sure on what they want you to change or keep. And then once you've got the go ahead, then you can start writing. But before you start writing, it is very important that you try and collect some references before you start. I think because you've got your plan, you know what you're going to write, you know what kind of points or what kind of topics you're going to touch on. From that, you can easily start trying to find references and find things that you want, sources that you want to use. You can use a database to do that search. You can use Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a lifesaver. Type in anything you want to look at. If that's, I don't know, asthma in children, World War II, whatever you want to look at, type it into Google Scholar. You will find relevant, credible sources of literature, and they come with the reference style, and it comes in all different styles of references. So depending on what uni you go to or what course you're studying, you can find the correct reference. Sometimes you need to tweak it a bit because sometimes the references aren't perfect, but it gives you the main body of it, which is so useful. So I would highly recommend using Google Scholar if you're kind of starting out finding resources and pieces of credible literature, because Wikipedia, obviously, as we know, is a no-no. Try and find as many references as you can. A lot of the time you do tend to find references as you go and as you are writing, which is fine. That's what I do as well. But I think having a few kind of in your search bar before you even start is good, because it's something that you can use to reference as you're starting to write, and kind of it just makes it easier, so you're not constantly stopping writing to then find a reference and find something to research. It just kind of interrupts the flow, so it's good to do a bit of both. Also, in reference to references, reference as you go. Obviously, when you're writing your assignment, you have to do your in-text references. So for example, you could say, my cat ran across the road, and say someone called Johnson said that, you'd be like, my cat ran across the road, brackets, Johnson 2019. It depends on the reference style that you're using, but that's how we use it. I use APA 6. That's what we use for kind of health sciences. So that's how you do your in-text reference. And then obviously you have your reference list or your bibliography right at the end of your assignment. So those in-text references, do them as you go. Write them full out in the reference list as you go as well, because there is nothing worse than finishing your assignment. You have all your tabs open, you have all your in-text references done, but the ones at the bottom in the bibliography are not done. I did that in first year. I did that a couple of times in assignments and I left it till last. And then you have to write them all out. You've still got all the tabs open to remember what to put in the reference. You have to order them in alphabetical order. It's just too much stress. And it takes, to be honest, it takes as long as writing an assignment, to be honest, when you leave it to the last minute. So always add to your reference list at the bottom as you go, the same way you add to your in-text references as you go. I really hope that makes sense. But that is the best way to just kind of keep it in the flow. And then once you do that, you can just get rid of the tabs and it just makes your computer look cleaner as well. Another thing that's really good to do is to proofread as you go. So say, for example, you've written 500 words, for example, and you've got however many to go. Before you continue on to the next section, proofread what you've already written, because there's nothing worse than writing like 90% of your assignment. You haven't read it through, you think it's great, and then you decide, oh, let me just read through it, and you read it and it doesn't make sense at all and it's not relevant to the question or the statement at all. That is the worst thing ever, and you just want to avoid that at all costs. So read it bit by bit. Even every 100, 200 words you write, go back, stop, go back and proofread it. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure it's relevant to what you're trying to say and what you're trying to achieve within the assignment, and then move on. Another thing that kind of links into that is making sure that you write your assignment bit by bit. I think it's really important that you don't just bang out the assignment all in one go, even though sometimes that can happen, say if you struggle with time management or if you've got a lot of assignments to do at once. But I think it's really important to kind of spread your assignment across however long you've got to do it and do a certain amount of words a day. Kind of set yourself a goal, and an achievable goal as well. Don't tell yourself you're going to write 2,000 words a day or 500 words a day and you know that you can't do that. So just set yourself kind of little achievable goals for each day that you're available to just write a certain amount of words. Proofread it when you come back to it, say the next day, and just make sure it all flows nicely, and it kind of splits up the workload and it ensures that you're proofreading your work as well, because you have to keep coming back to it. The last thing that I probably want to say is submit your assignment in advance. I'm someone that hates leaving things to the last minute. Sometimes I do, especially if I've got a huge workload and I have no choice but to leave things to the last minute. But with things like assignments, don't leave it. If your assignment is due at 11:59, don't submit it at 11:58, because imagine your Wi-Fi cuts out and then the submission doesn't work and then it's gone past the time and then you're like, it doesn't submit, you know what I mean? Even just on the day of the submission, I always like to submit my assignments a couple of days before. If you can't for whatever reason, then that's totally fine, as long as you meet the deadline. But I think it's good to get it out of the way before the deadline, because it's less stressful, it's out of the way, and you just feel more organized. You definitely know it's submitted, because if you're submitting it literally minutes before the deadline, you don't really know, like anything could happen. Your laptop could crash, something could happen, like anything could happen in your life. So I think it's really important to submit things early and just keep organized. Start writing early as well. Don't start writing like 2 days before the deadline, because you're just going to give yourself unnecessary stress. Fair enough, a lot of us work better under pressure. I work better under pressure, but not too much pressure, because I will panic and I will get distracted. So I know what works for me, and you probably know what works for you as well. But these are just things that I think are the best way to make sure your writing makes sense, for one, and also make sure that you're just staying organized and that you can get the best out of your opportunity to write an assignment and really show how much you know and show how well you can write as well. That goes for all university subjects. And then for nursing as well, it's nice to be able to show what you can do clinically, but showing what you can do academically as well is really important, to just show that you kind of have a good balance of both sides. I have a background of writing a lot and doing humanities subjects and writing loads of essays, so assignments I feel like aren't as difficult for me as, say, other people who are just used to doing science-based subjects and things like that. So that's where I do have a bit of an advantage, but still anyone can do it. Anyone can follow these steps. You don't have to be a really confident writer to still achieve highly in your assignments. So yeah, if you are struggling and you're not really sure how to write assignments, I hope those tips will help you out. Let me know if they are helpful. That's the end of the video. That's all I've got to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.